Hi, Arav. I'm capturing this video where I'm capturing some of the learning areas, formulas, insights, and also the error log. Okay. So if you look at this, these are some of the areas for your recap as well as the errors. I've added the errors here. Okay. So let's look at it one by one. Okay. This is entirely based on the mistakes that you have made in the past. Okay. So let's look at first, and we will go by this format. Okay, these are the in geometry and trigonometry. There are four basic units: area and volume, then congruence, similarity, right angle trigonometry, and circle. Circle is the biggest area because circle has got four different chapters. So or three different chapters. So total there are six chapters. Okay, area and volume, angle, similarity, trigonometry, and then these are the three for circle. Okay. So we'll go one by one and we'll just try to do a recap. Now here in area and volume, basically these kind of formula will be given, but only for volume. So surface area you will have to figure out. Okay, so keep in mind surface area you will have to figure out. The other learning area here is that rectangular prism is like a cuboid. Okay, the difference is that in the cuboid all the sides are equal, but here these three sides are different. Length, width, and height are different. Okay, so that is a rectangular prism. It is not the same as prism. Okay, don't make this mistake. It is like this. Okay, length, width, height. It is like this. Okay, so this was the learning area. Then there were some questions where questions about angles. Okay, this I will delete because this is not accurate. Okay, so let me show you that you made a mistake basically because of which I think that was in test 8. No, not here. I'm searching. Okay, it's here. This kind of a question. Okay, this is based on the similarity because this is similar, this is similar, these two angles are similar. So this angle will also be similar. Here, just you made some silly mistake in this question. That is why your marks got cut. So be very, very careful. Okay. This is exactly a similar triangle. So don't make that mistake next time. Okay. Then I have covered this angles question. I have covered rectangular prism. Okay. There was a question about rectangular prism and you made a mistake where the two prisms were combined. Let me show you. Okay. And actually you then got it right because then two edges were uh, pasted together of the rectangular prism. So the area had to be reduced. Okay, this is the question. This one. Okay, keep in mind, right? This we had discussed. Okay, they were glued together along a square base. So you have to keep in mind that the square base, which has an area of a square, the prism is glued together by it. So out of the total surface area, you have to subtract 2a square because both the squares are now hidden. Okay, so this was one. Then, okay, then this is very, very important concept of included angles in similar triangles. Here, only when we did the question bank, okay, so you made a mistake because we do not look at the included angle. Let me show you. This is the most important. And this was a tricky reasoning kind of a question, this one, right? You remember? And we had selected B as the answer, whereas the answer is this, okay? This is because even if two sides are proportional, this is 1:3 ratio, right? And this is also 1:3 ratio. These two sides are proportional by 1:3. However, these these conditions and the angle is also 60. These three conditions will give you a similar triangle only if these lines, which are proportional, are the lines for this angle. Okay, but here these lines are different. Okay, these are not the lines for the same angle. If they happen to be, then that is called the included angle. Okay, so if I drew this picture in front of you also. Okay, so you have to remember that. Okay, let me see if I can draw it somehow. I don't know how to draw it. No, I will not be able to draw it. Okay, let me see if I can open a PDF, a PPT. Here, okay, and draw. The include angle means if this line, these are two triangles, let's say, right? And if this line is proportional to this line, and this line is proportional to this line, and included angle is this, then, right? Because this is the angle made by these two lines. So if this angle is also similar to this one, only in this case, the triangle that will be formed, okay, will be similar. Otherwise, not. So just to give an example where it won't be similar is if suppose you had two cases where the angles are similar, okay, but when it comes to the sides, so these angles are similar, okay, but when it comes to the side, this one is proportional, right? But this, they have not talked about this side. They have talked about this side. This side happens to be proportional. Then it is not a similar triangle because then this is the included angle. And they have not talked about this included angle. So keep this in mind, okay? So this is an important concept of included angle in similar triangles. Okay. Now this is very, very important. Pythagorean triplets. This is important because this will save you time during the exam. Otherwise, you will have to manually calculate. So let's look at some Pythagorean triplets. Just remember this. You will have to remember this, okay? See this table, it's amazing. And a lot of these will be just the multiplication of 3. So I will ask this to remove the multiplication of 3. Remove those which are in the multiples of 3. Because obviously when it is in multiples of 3, see if you see here, this is 3 times 2, 6, 4 times 2, 8, 5 times 2, 10. So obviously this is proportional. So you just need to remember 3, 4, and 5. If there is any triplet which is in the multiple, so 3 times 3, 9, 4 times 3, 12. So 9, 12, 15 will also be a triplet. So see, 9, 12, 15 is also a triplet. So you need not remember. You just need to remember the basic ones, okay? Okay. See this. This a few you will have to remember. Okay, so I will copy it and you will have to remember. And I will also copy the 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so this way you can remember Pythagorean triplets. Okay, this is A, this is B, this is okay. Okay, so obviously any multiple of these will also be a Pythagorean triplet. So any multiple of this, like if you multiply this by 2 times, that will also be a Pythagorean triplet. So this is a tricky question and it will definitely come in the exam. Okay, so remember these Pythagorean triplets. Now, language questions. You make a lot of mistake in the language questions. For example, uh, I forgot that you made an error and there was a language question where you, for example, in that flux question, this was a language question and you made an error. Let me show you. Let me see if I can find a language question. For example, this is in a way a language question, but this is reasoning question, not that much of a language question. Let me find a language question for you. Not a language question. Don't be scared of the language. Okay, for example, this is a language question and you were not able to understand the language. Okay, let me show the. Oh, this is fine. Only this was a language question. This is a language question. Okay, so do it systematically. Don't get scared. This. This is a language question. This is a classic example of a language question. If you read it carefully, you will be able to crack it and take notes, just like the English only. Okay. So this is the language question. This also we have covered now. Okay, then this is basically SOHCAHTOA is the mnemonic for sine cos tan. Okay, this you have to remember. I think you have remembered this already. Okay, now this is another formula you have to keep in mind. Sine theta, this is complementarity. Sine theta is equal to cos 90 minus theta. This comes in handy sometimes. Okay, so please remember this. Then the other thing is circle and angle relations. So I think you remember a lot of these, but let's just quickly review circle and angle relations. Okay. This you know, right? But let's not go there. I think you remember, so let's not go there. Some of the quick formula were, if I open a blank, were like this, right? In a circle, right? I think you knew it. If I have this point, and if I draw a angle, and if I draw any angle from these 2 points, those two angles, right? Assume that it is lying on the circle only. Those two angles are going to be similar. Okay, there is another circle. Like if you have 2 points and you draw this angle, and you suppose this is the center, and if you draw this angle to the center, right? This is the radius. Okay, so this angle is twice of this angle. This is another circle theorem. Okay, let me see if there are. There was another theorem that in a semicircle, if you draw, let me draw it again. So if it's a semicircle, let's say this is a semicircle, and if you draw an angle from here to here, okay, this will be a right angle, 90 degree. Okay, but this need not be. I forgot what this theorem was. Ignore it. Ignore what I said. See, this was the formula, right? This is a very, very important concept. So this you know, right? Circle theorems you know already. Now let me go to quickly. So this you have to please do on your own. Circle angle relation to your own. Now this trigonometry function tan. This is very, very important, right? This is where what I told you was very, very important. Let me just remove all of this. What I told you here was that when you think of tan specifically, it could be for cos and everything. The question basically was tan 92 pi by 3, right? 92 pi by 3. How do you calculate this, right? So we have to, one way is you can do it by calculator, multiply 92 by pi by 3, right? Full. And you can do that by the calculator also. Another is you can also do it by the circle. So actually, then I had given you an example just so that you can understand 10 to 25. So here, what you will have to do is you have to figure out, first of all, what is the formula for tan? The formula for tan in a circle is, suppose if you have to calculate, suppose the tan of this angle, right? Suppose this is the angle. So you tan is basically y by x, right? This is the formula, right? Of this y and x will come from this point. Now you have to calculate the tan of 225. First, you will have to start from this line, which is the zero line, and you have to calculate 225 degrees. So 225 degrees would be basically this line, right? Because it will be 180 plus 45. So 180 degrees here and 45. So this will be the 225. Now this will be the y and this will be the x, right? So this y will be negative, right? So your tan 225 value will come out negative. Now, how do you calculate 10, 20, 25? If you don't have the calculator, if this angle is 225, then this angle is 45, right? So you calculate 1045, but 1045 will give you this value. You have to calculate the negative. This will give you y by x. You have to calculate y by x, which is negative because y is negative. So basically, you will make the minus of 1045. Okay. Whatever is the 1045 value, you will take the minus of that. This is 10 to 20, 25. Okay. So similarly, you can do for 92 pi by 3. How can you do? You can just keep in mind that 360 degree, one circle gets completed. So your 360 degree is 2 pi. Okay. This also you have to remember that pi is 180 degree. So 360 degree is 2 pi. So you have to separate out how many 2 pi's are there. So this can be written as 30 pi, basically 90 pi by 3, right? 90 pi by 3, right? Plus 2 pi by 3, right? 2 pi by 3, right? So 90 pi by 3 is basically 30 pi. 30 pi means 15 times. 30 pi is equal to 15 into 2 pi. So 30 times it has gone like this, and then it is going 2 pi by 3. Pi is equal to 180, I told you, right? Because 2 pi is equal to 360. So pi is 180. So you do this 180 by 360 into 2, 120 degree. So you have to, this is basically equal to 10, 120 degree. So 10, 20 degree is basically this line. Okay. Here y is positive, x is negative. So this will be, and this was 120. Okay. So now if you calculate, uh, you have to calculate now. Can you now tell me how you will calculate 10, 120? This will be equal to minus of this angle, which means it will be equal to minus of 1060, because 1060 will give you this by this. Okay. And you have to calculate the negative because now your x is negative. Okay. So this is what I told you about. Let me just delete this. Okay. So 10 is clear. This need to understand in the circle. Okay. This is clear, not just by the calculator. Circle equations. This is very, very important. This was the last unit. Circle equations. Okay. These kind of equations. This also you need to remember, very, very important. Okay. I did not see you making any error, hence I'm not going into deep into this. Now let's look at your error log. Okay. Let's look at the questions where you made errors. Okay. So I am going to open each and every test for you now. Okay. This I think you later on you fixed. This you fixed later on. Okay. This also you fixed later on. I think initially after making the mistake. This also I think you fixed. I don't remember actually, but I think you might have fixed, because of which I don't remember. I will only capture main questions. Here you make silly mistakes. Okay. In this, please don't make silly mistakes. Okay. This I think you did right. This you did right. This you messed up, right? Because you could not calculate the surface area because you were gluing the rectangular prisms wrongly. Okay. Don't do that. This I think you were able to do it. This you were able to do it. This you were able to do. This you were able to do, I think, because I did not see you making any errors. This also you were able to do, I think. This also you were able to do. This you were able to do, right? This you were able to do. Let's look at this. Okay, this was tricky, but we were able to do it eventually. Okay, this you were able to do. This you were able to do. This, I think, you made a mistake, but later on we fixed it because this line needs to go 19 points below. Okay, so keep in mind. This you made a silly error, right? So keep in mind, no silly error. This you messed up big time because you did not remember the formula of distance of 2 points. You have to calculate the distance of 2 points. आरब का रिकॉर्ड कर रहा हूँ हो गया रिकॉर्ड अभी बीच में रुक जाए एक सेकंड आया बस में 2 points right hk so you have to calculate that formula of distance between 2 points you have to apply this also you messed up because this is a angle okay and this is fine so test 5 is fine now let's look at some other errors that you made in the question bank okay this silly mistake this because you could not do the under root 2 please try to remember this okay you could not factor out the under root 2 2 plus under root 2 and 1 plus under root 2 you got confused don't make that mistake this also you could not calculate it it's a simple logic question okay this is angle a then this is angle a this is 180 minus b this angle is same as this angle which is 180 minus 2w okay so this total becomes a 180 minus b 180 minus 2w don't make such mistakes okay similarly this we have already discussed okay so this is some of the error logs let me just open another one okay this you can do this I will give you okay this is a tricky question I will give you today this also I will give you today and these are some of the values better to remember okay this you made a mistake this we have discussed uh, everything else we have discussed okay so this question I will give you today that is all okay thank you